Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. I feel it's time to have this conversation again, man. I didn't have an epiphany or no shit like that, but I really been peeping something out that I don't like, and it kind of bothers me. And I feel like we all need to talk about this. You know, the community, the black community, the brothers and sisters, because I feel like it's time to have this conversation. It's just real talk. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you hypersensitive and over emotional about this subject matter, if you're gonna get all emotional and start talking shit, then don't, you know what I'm saying, then just don't comment. Just, you know what I'm saying, I'm not a person that just sit up here and talk just to be talking. I sat up here, I watched this shit, and you know, I'll let it marinate, as E40 would say. And now I feel like it's time to speak on this, because I see it all the time, and I've been seeing this for years with this dude. I done seen several YouTube channels talk about this. I done seen people flat out admit why they don't like this dude. You know, and I want to talk about Steph Curry, man. And I want to talk about one of the reasons why I think Steph Curry has this unfounded, like, hatred by people, especially in the black community. You know, the funny thing is, you got more black people that hate Steph Curry than you do, you know, the other people. For years, I've been watching these videos where people just attack Steph Curry, and it's unwarranted. Whether it's about his play on the court, whether it's him. Now, look, the situation with his wife, that's his situation. I felt that he was disrespected tremendously by his wife, and a lot of people wasn't feeling that, but a lot of people was like, hey, he should divorce her instantly. Well, you know, it ain't that damn simple. Because keep in mind, Steph Curry is in California, and I got one word for you. Or half. I think Steph Curry don't want to end up writing Aisha Curry a check for $200 million, because they say Steph Curry is worth somewhere between $300 and $400 million. Might be more. You know, give or take $100 million. But what bothers me is I see these videos where he is just viciously attacked. And what kills me is the inconsistency that the people that don't like Steph Curry have. Now, when this dude is sitting up, you know, throwing up 40 points a game, they quiet, they disappear. But then he may have one subpar game. Oh, Steph Curry ain't shit. Steph Curry ain't shit. He's overrated. He's overrated, man. He ain't shit. And I'm just gonna say this, man. Take it however you want. Whoever listening to this video, man. If you think Steph Curry is overrated, man, you need not to ever try to talk about basketball. First of all, this dude is the only unanimous MVP. He won it twice, back to back. Unanimous, which means everybody voted for him. So how the fuck is he overrated? Okay? So that doesn't make any kind of sense. Look at his numbers. Okay, one-time league scoring championship, 20-point per game average, arguably the greatest shooter in NBA history. So how the fuck is he overrated? Okay, you're not making any kind of sense. And I didn't heard Steph Curry get all these attacks from him, how he looks and all that type of shit. But I'm going to tell you, one of the main reasons why Steph Curry receives the hatred he receives is because of his skin tone, because he's a light-skinned black man. And yes, he's black. I've even heard people make videos saying Steph Curry is not black. Well, what fucking color is Dale Curry? And what, have you seen his mother? You could clearly look at his mother and see that she's black. But this is what these morons do. I've seen videos made about Steph Curry saying that he ain't black. Which I think, once again, you're a fucking moron if you put bullshit like that out. But like I said, a lot of hatred that Stephen Curry receives is because he's a light-skinned black dude. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that's everybody's thought process, but that's a lot of people's thought process. I think that's the main factor why he gets the venom threw at him that he gets. Because he's a light-skinned black man. Tell me if I'm lying. I hear this shit all the time. And I hear this from other light-skinned black dudes. Where they say that shit, oh, you're not black enough, or light-skinned dudes are not tough and all that shit. Because, you know, the funny thing is, I talked to Andre Ward, and we had like a brief conversation, and I made that joke about that, and Andre Ward gave me that look like, he gave me that, okay, you know what time it is. And tell me I'm not lying. And it stems all the way going back into slavery, from the whole house Negro, field Negro thing. The animosity that was built among black people by sometimes the lighter skinned, fair skinned black person getting preferential treatment versus the darker skinned person. Keep in mind that shit spills over from generation to generation. Tell me that isn't true. What do you think that movie School Days was about? Colorism. Sean Livingston spoke on that and said that a lot of people don't respect them and have it in for the Golden State Warriors because a lot of their players are light-skinned. This came out of Sean Livingston's mouth. I've heard that shit all my life about, light-skinned people can't fight and all that. I've heard that shit all life. Now the thing is with me, I'm not like light, bright, damn near white. I'm like that light skin, just like I'm just lighter skinned. Anybody that has seen me knows that I'm considered a light skinned black dude. But both my parents are black. My father was a very dark skinned black dude from Monroe, Louisiana. My mother is a light skinned lady. She what you call a red bone. But both of my mother's parents are black. My grandfather is Haitian. You know what I'm saying? He Haitian. Then my grandmother, she's still alive. She like brown skinned. But my grandfather was dark skinned. But then they had my mom, and my mom came out light skinned. That's the thing about black people. That melanin. You know, two dark skinned people could have a light skinned baby. That's just fact. But you know, out of all my siblings, I'm the lightest one. My brother is dark skinned, and my two sisters are dark skinned. They have my father's skin tone, I have my mother's skin tone. But that's what I'm saying. But I've always heard people make them little innuendos towards me and shit. And they found out the hard way. You know? I mean, tell me in my line if colorism isn't a big community problem in our community. I'll give you an example. I watched Nipsey Hussle's memorial service. As you guys know, I covered it. I did some footage outside. We covered it. The LDBC covered it. I covered it. So, I was watching it, the actual service at a bar. And when YG got up to give a eulogy on Nipsey Hussle, he just said something that was so cringe-worthy. I was just like, he said something that just had everybody like, you could just tell everybody was like, man. Now, here's the thing about YG. I respect YG as a rapper. I like his music, but YG is a dude I don't ever want to meet. I don't want to meet him whatsoever. I don't want to talk to him. He not, you know, he just ain't the type of person that I could see myself like being cool with, because he got a history of attacking black people. He's very anti, you know what I'm saying, black empowerment. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him. He's taking shots at the so-called pro-black movement on a regular basis. You know, just Danny made that comment talking about, yeah, I told Nipsey, you got to stick around because we got some light-skinned babies to raise. And don't tell me y'all didn't hear him say that and y'all was like, what? So that goes on a lot. I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time. It's funny when you get a rapper that call itself black this, black that, nobody has a problem with it. And I have no problem with it. If you want to call yourself black, whatever, Black Rob, Black Mike, you know what I'm saying, Black Fred, that's fine with me. But then it was this female rapper that's out right now. She called herself light-skinned Keisha. So everybody, oh man, why you gotta call yourself light-skinned Keisha? Oh, here we go. Like, I was like, well, that's hypocritical. And I noticed anytime when a light-skinned brother made videos talking about that he was light-skinned and he was proud of it, it was like, it's a lot of backlash. Where people saying that, oh, you think you better because you light-skinned. No. Now there's dark-skinned people that think having a light-skinned baby that's the funny thing. You have more dark-skinned people that go out of their way to say, oh, I hope my baby is light and all that shit. I don't suffer from colorism. Like I say, I love all black women, to be honest with you. That's the funny part. Because my son's mother, she's very dark-skinned. And I've said that on several occasions. My son's mother, she's a really dark-skinned lady. Now the person I'm seeing now, she like a real light-skinned lady. So, and both her parents are black. And I've heard this shit on several occasions. Like me, if I'm with, like, let's just say I done been out on dates with, like, a light-skinned girl. Sometimes a sister will walk up to me, a dark-skinned sister, and be like, oh, I see what you into. Huh? Oh, you like them light-skinned girls, huh? And I was like, no, it's because she gave me her number. So I'm like, shit. And I said, hey, so this is how I responded to her, because she made me mad. I said, I ain't got no problem with dark-skinned women. I said, I'll fuck you too. That's what I said to her. And then she smiled and walked away. I said, I ain't into that shit. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? But there is people that's into that type of shit that's strictly. I always hear dark-skinned dudes a lot of times say, oh man, I like them light-skinned things. But that's okay. You entitled to be with whoever you like. I don't have no issue with colorism, but like I said, a lot of the attacks that be on Steph Curry got a lot to do with the light-skinned, dark-skinned thing. I know it. I saw a dude flat out say that he got it in for Steph Curry because he light-skinned and he gonna get all the attention. Well, how is that when the most famous athlete in history arguably is Michael Jordan, who's a dark-skinned black man? Now, the most famous boxer in history is Muhammad Ali, whom a lot of people consider a light-skinned dude. So how is that? But then I always heard people attack Muhammad Ali too and say, oh, Muhammad Ali strictly got with light-skinned women because he wanted to keep that light-skinned skin tone going. So I hear this shit all the time. I've heard it before. You cannot tell me shit. I'm keeping it 100. This is gonna go over a lot of people's, ear tones and shit. This is gonna go right through it. They not gonna listen. They just gonna come on here and start talking shit. Oh, I don't think that oh man, why are you talking about it? Because this subject need to be talked about. I know why Steph Curry is getting a lot of the hatred that he gets. It's always been that way, like going back to Hollywood, where you had Denzel, you had Will Smith, then you had in TV, you had Shamar Moore, you had Lance Gross, it's always been that way. It's always been that way. It stems all the way back to the slavery days. And like I said, it's spilled over to what we have now. You cannot tell me that that's not still a problem in our community. A lot of people don't want to hear this shit, but you're gonna hear it from me. Like I said, I don't give a fuck who get mad, because it gotta be said. This is what's been going on, man. This is why Steph Curry receives a lot of the hate that he gets. It ain't just me that just said it. It's been NBA players that just said the shit. So we all just making this shit up. It's all in our imagination. I peep things out. I really peep things out. Even though some people try to make it look like I don't know what I'm talking about and shit. But it is what it is. I'll tell y'all, I don't push this record button unless I'm ready to go. I don't do shit just on the fly. It's very rare where I do shit on the fly. Y'all know by now, I've been like peeping this out, contemplating this shit, and I was like, okay, it's time to talk about this. When Kevin Durant have a bad game, you don't see people say, oh, Kevin Durant ain't shit, he overrated. But then as soon as Steph Curry has one subpar game, then, oh man, Steph Curry ain't shit, he overrated. And like I said, you can't be a 3-time NBA champion and a 2-time back-to-back league MVP and be overrated. Okay? Because if Steph Curry is overrated, then Steve Nash is super overrated. Okay? I'm just making that comparison. People don't want to hear these things, but you have to talk about these things. It's healthy for us to talk this out and get it out there. If you a sensitive light-skinned person, then you know what? Don't comment on this shit. Don't get all upset. If you a sensitive dark-skinned person, don't comment on this shit. Don't get mad. But I'm telling the motherfucking truth. I've seen this shit. I've seen, for real. I see people I'll just be like, man. And this don't be having nothing to do with the Golden State Warriors. Like, for real. It's beyond that. It's a difference between criticizing somebody just because it's basketball related. But when people criticize Steph Curry, you can hear that it's just beyond basketball. But yeah, this is your boy Town Biz. I am out.